this is the biggest misconception in golf industry. Hi, Golftat here. Tech Talk by Golftat, the urban legend of golf, episode 2. In this video, we're gonna do the fact check for the shaft frequency. Are those myth or urban legend? Let's get to it. Frequency myth revealed. We got 6 of them. Number 1, frequency is absolute measurement. Number 2, frequency means stiffness. Number 3, frequency is equivalent to speed. Number 4, approximation. A half-inch difference corresponds to 4 CPM, and 2 gram weight difference corresponds to 1 CPM. Number 5, your golf club set must follow frequency slope. Frequency slope looks like this. You have seen this, right? We have types of club here: driver, fairway wood, hybrid, iron set, and frequency here. Each club should follow the frequency on this slope. This is how frequency slope works. And the last one, number 6, frequency must match swing speed. In other words, there is an optimum frequency for a specific swing speed. Okay, let's start the fact checking for those. Frequency. Firstly, we need to understand what it really is. Otherwise, it's not possible to do the fact checking. So let me explain about the frequency. This is the frequency analyzer. This one is over Mitchell. And the picture here is the model for the phenomenon. What is happening here? We fix the one end of club here, and we strike the other end, and it's become to vibrate constantly. That state is called simple vibration of cantilever. And what frequency analyzer evaluates is a cycle of the vibration, number of times of the vibration. And usually we use hertz for the unit of the vibration. However, when I say, hey, my driver is 4 hertz, you don't know what it means. So we multiply it by 60 and make it cycle per minute. So we use the unit CPM for frequency in golf. Okay, frequency, what determines it? This is a formula for frequency. I omit to explain about this formula. So please accept this as is. This one is for hertz. So we to make it into CPM, we multiply it by 60 and we get this formula. And I'm going to use this formula to explain in further slides. And when we look into this formula, we have EI here. This expresses the stiffness of the shaft, and M represents the head weight, and L is the length of the club here. Okay, and when we closely look into this formula, EI is over this bar. So when the EI stiffness the shaft increases, CPM increases, right? And when M increases, CPM decreases. And L is cubed, so L affects the CPM most. Now we somehow understand what frequency is, so let's start the fact check. Myth number 1. Frequency is absolute measurement. What is absolute measurement? In short, it means being a number. In contrast to other relative index or rating, such as R or S. Is this true? I would say it's partially true, because it is true that it is a number, which is absolute measurement. However, we know that there is a field issue. The same frequency still feels differently, right? Also, despite being a number, it cannot be used to compare with the shaft or club, unless unless all other conditions being exactly equal. Okay, this usually does not happen. The standards differ from OEM to OEM. For example, checking condition, length, weight, grip shape and stiffness, and shafting depth. So we cannot use it to compare against other shaft or club, despite the fact it is a number. For your reference, JGGA, Japan Golf With Association, issues a guideline of the shaft stiffness. This is the stiffness. In this procedure, they exactly define the head weight and the length of the shaft. When we compare this procedure against the formula here, the weight of the head and the length is fixed. So in this case, we can say that frequency represents EI, which is the stiffness of the shaft. But please note that this is the frequency of the shaft, not the club. Okay? When this shaft is installed in a golf club, this head construction differs from OEM to OEM, as well as grip construct, length, shape, and stiffness. So we still cannot use it to compare against other OEM. Myth number 2. Frequency represents the stiffness of the shaft. As explained in previous slide, it's false. It is a number of cycle, number of times, not the stiffness. Okay? However, it can be reference number for the stiffness of the shaft if all other things being exactly equal. This usually does not happen. Myth number 3. Frequency means speed. Some people say that this is a high frequency shaft, so it is a speedy shaft. Or this is a high frequency shaft, so it recovers fast in high speed. Is this a true statement? The fact is no, it's false. Because by definition it is a number of cycle, number of time, not speed, not time. Then why does he or she say so? I think they mean the recovery speed is fast for the high frequency shaft. If so, it does not relate to the frequency at all. So it's an absolutely wrong idea. Let me explain. If he or she means recovery speed is fast for high frequency shaft, the speed relates to the amplitude. Okay? Amplitude, deflection of the shaft, not the frequency, because it is a simple vibration. Okay, in the simple vibration, period and frequency is constant, but not the speed. So this is absolutely wrong idea. But if he or she means period is fast, it makes some sense because period is the inverse of frequency. By the way, period is not recovery time. So still, it is a cycle, number of the times, not the time, duration, nor speed. Myth number 4, approximation. A half-inch change corresponds to 4 CPM, and 2-gram weight change corresponds to 1 CPM change in frequency. The fact is, it's not exactly correct. However, practically, it's true. No problem in the use of them. One thing we should remember is the shaft stiffness property, EI here, affects the result significantly, but still, those are good approximation. Let me explain. This chart is CPM against head weight. When we change the head weight from 200 gram to 198 gram, we got 1.3 CPM change. And from 192 to 190, we got 1.4 CPM change. And with the heavier head, 210 to 208, we only have 1.2 CPM. So the frequency changes in relation to the square root of the head weight. So most clubs have heavier head than driver, so they are on the right side of this chart. So it approaches to 1. Okay. So 2 gram 1 CPM is not bad approximation. Okay, this one is for CPM against the club length. When we change the club length from 45 inch to 44.5, we got 4.4 CPM change. And from 43 to 42.5, we got 4.9 CPM change. And for longer shaft, 47.5 to 47, we only have 3.8 CPM. So in this case, the frequency changes in relation to the square root of the length cubed. And this chart is for driver. And most clubs are shorter than driver, so they are left side of this chart. So half-inch change corresponds to 4 CPM for driver and 5 CPM for irons. Not a bad approximation. Myth number 5. Your golf club set must follow frequency slope. Frequency slope is like this, you know. So I would say it's true empirically. Empirically, very obscure conclusion. But because there is no evidence of must. And there is also no evidence of not necessary to do. And when you do a normal, common club fitting, shafts on current market makes similar shape of this naturally. It's okay to do that. Then, what will be the optimum frequency slope? Okay, this blue line is most commonly used frequency slope in which the CPM changes 8 per inch. Okay, and in this example, I fixed the shaft property and changed only weight of the head and the length of the shaft. And I got this chart slope. Actually, it is a curve, not a line. Mr. Carsten Solheim once said that I'd like to use the same shaft for all club for frequency issue. So this is a result of the club set. And compare this with the commonly used one, the blue one. This the same shaft frequency slope is lower than the normal one. So that means that in normal fitting, the shaft on the current market, the iron set shafts are stiffer than the driver in their nature. And we use the fairway wood and hybrids. We usually use a different shaft from iron set, so it will be difficult to make the straight line here. But still, yeah, it is okay. Okay, the last one, myth number 3. Frequency must match swing speed, or there is an optimum frequency for specific swing speed. The answer is it's not correct concept. It's not mandatory. Okay, there may be correlation between the swing speed and the frequency of the club that pros are used. However, there's no evidence of must. Okay, and it's just a matter of preference. And there exist other important ingredients in golf shaft fitting, such as length, weight, and swing weight, and shaft property, something like that. Then, why do many people claim this? Okay, because of this misconception, they think like this. Okay, the frequency corresponds to swing speed because the recovery time of the club is the same as the recovery time in golf swing. Okay, letters in red is a wrong idea. So this is a wrong idea from the beginning. Okay, and then they think that this recovery time in golf swing should be same as the duration from transition to impact, from here to here. They think that this should be same, but again, it's the wrong idea. And duration from transition to impact must correspond to swing speed. Okay. Again, this is the wrong idea. Okay. All of those are wrong. And in fact, this relation may vary because we can adjust the recovery time in golf swing. Okay. Then relation between recovery time in golf swing and the duration from transition to impact, those must synchronize in sync. Okay, not the same, not same. And for number 3 relation, duration time from transition to impact and swing speed, there is no correlation between those. This is a fact. Okay. So they think there is an optimum frequency for a particular swing speed because they think like this. Okay, this is a wrong idea. This is a fact. Okay, I'm going to explain the typical mistake. Okay, for a club of 240 CPM, the period is 0.25 seconds. Then he or she checks the sequence photo and the time, the duration between this and this, and find that it is about 0.25 seconds. And he or she thinks that, hey, I found the secret of golf. This must be same. And this must correspond to swing speed. proportional to CPM. Okay, and for the faster swing speed, this period should be shorter. That means higher CPM, frequency of the shaft. This is a typical mistake. And I think this is the biggest misconception in golf industry. You may not believe this, so if you still think the myth is true, think about this. I'm going to explain only one example. If the statement is true, why a golfer can hit 300 yards with a ladies golf club? You have seen this movie in the YouTube a lot, right? So in that case, this recovery time of the ladies shaft is long, but he can still swing in higher speed, right? So if this is correct, that will not happen, right? He or she can do it because he can adjust the recovery time in golf swing, and he can synchronize it with the impact timing here. This is why he or she can hit 300 yards with a ladies club. Okay, the summary for the fact check for frequency myth. Number one, frequency is absolute measurement. It's partly true. It's a number, but cannot be used to compare apple to apple. Okay, frequency. Number two, frequency means stiffness. It's false. It's true only under special condition. Okay. Number three, frequency is a speed. It's absolutely wrong idea. Number four, approximation half inch for CPM change, 2 gram weight, 1 CPM. It's not exactly true, but it's practically true. It's a good approximation. Frequency slope must be linear. It's empirically true, I would say. And the last one, frequency must match swing speed. It was an average. Okay, this is the result for the fact checking. How was that? In the next episode, I'm gonna take up the shaft deflection during swing. A lot of people say we should utilize the whip of the shaft, right? But very small number of people actually understand what is happening to the golf club during swing. I mean, very small number. So it's gonna be an interesting one. Okay, thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Until next time, continue hitting.